Good morning, or from wherever you're watching. Hello, welcome to the 5 Takeaways, a show about Carolina basketball. I've just woken up this morning. The sun is rising. Should be a lovely Wednesday on planet Earth for some people. Here to talk today about the most recent Carolina basketball game, which was a loss by a score of 85-92 in Winston-Salem against Wake Forest. The first half was awful. One of the worst first halves I've ever seen. And it lost us the game then and there. We'll talk a little bit later about the fight that the players showed and the effort to score 60 points in the second half, win the second half by 15 points, and still lose by 7. How is that possible? You must have had a pretty bad first half, and they did. We're going to jump right into the boxes today. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to discuss what happened last night. That's typically kind of how these videos go. Starting with a red box. Again, no graphics. We're going no graphic, losing streak. I'm going to have to switch it up a little bit here. But red box today for three-point shooting. We were 0 for 5 in the first half. I think we finished 4 for 13 overall. No, 4 for 18. We were 4 for 13 in the second half. And 3 of those were Caleb Hucks from about half court with the game already decided, basically. Maybe we could run some of those sets that seem to allow Caleb to make the three-pointers more often, especially when the game isn't out of reach. But you're just not going to win. I mean, we were 1 for 12, I think, with literally 3 minutes to go in the game from 3, and we were down 10 or 12, so I'm not saying we go 11 for 12 from 3, but even 4 for 12, heaven forbid, you'd think a team like Carolina could go 4 for 12, you'd hope, and that would have put the game tied 1 point, whatever. So the shooting is the beginning and the end for me. If we can't shoot, we're not going to be able to score as much, and we're going to be behind. I thought in the first half, or whenever, even when we were trading buckets, a 2 for us and then a 3 for them over the course of 5 times is they're just going to pull ahead. You've got to be able to, in this game, in this day and age, make threes. That's kind of why, we transitioned from Roy to Huber, partly, right? Because the 2-big model wasn't working. The game was evolving. We needed more shooters. I feel like we have shooters on this team. I don't think I have a box for this, but I might actually. We just need to get our shooters open more and stop pounding the ball, one ball screen, and then Leaky has the ball with 6 seconds left. Second box today is going to be a red for transition, both sides, offense and defense. Transition offense, which is historically a strength of Carolina's, was poor yesterday. In the first half early on, Leaky had his second steal and, breakaway, easy dunk. He kind of looked behind him both ways, and a Wake Forest player was directly behind him, so he didn't see him. He definitely wasn't running as fast as he could have. He kind of half-heartedly went up for a dunk. Ball got slapped. He was fouled, but then he missed both free throws. There was also an example in the second half where Wake Forest missed a shot and we threw ahead. It was 4-0, and Seth Trimble caught it and kind of dribbled it off his foot and was able to collect it, and Wake Forest was back. And so that's, 4 points right there that you're just throwing away. And then on defense, I felt like we weren't getting as many offensive rebounds, especially in the first half, as we've become accustomed to. They had some long rebounds go their way, but also, it felt like we weren't getting back, or maybe in the full court press, it was getting broken pretty easily, and then they just had alley-oops at the rim. I don't know. The defense last night I was not pleased with as well, but we're going to move on to box number 3, and I'm going to try and keep this brief. It's, I think, my first ever box regarding the refs. It's a red for the kinds of fouls called. I said kinds of fouls called. The statistics, and I'm not going to look at the statistics for the fouls because Carolina was in the single bonus with 12 minutes to go and the double bonus with 9 minutes to go in the second half, or Wake Forest was. Carolina put them there. And then we played the fouling game for the last 2 minutes of the game. And so you're going to look at the Appleby kid who had 25 free throws or something, and obviously, we were purposely fouling, and they had a lot of time to accrue those. So I'm not saying that. And this is actually going to try and be as unbiased as possible on both sides of the ball. I just don't understand what fouls we are calling. To me, we're not calling the right fouls. I think if a player is going in, a driving layup and there's clearly contact, that should be a foul every time. And I think last night a lot of those, like Caleb and RJ, weren't called. But then, you've seen it earlier in the season with Armando backing people down, and that's called for an offensive foul. These moving screens that we seem to get every game. Again, on both sides, I think towards the end of the game when they were calling a lot of fouls and we were shooting free throws, when RJ comes around the corner and just kind of gets bumped and they were calling that a foul, I wouldn't say that's a foul. There were a couple times where Wake Forest big man went straight up on play, like Armando, and they were calling fouls on that, which I don't know, is that a foul? Aren't you allowed to go straight up? I feel like the discrepancy of, yeah, that's a foul, and, oh, that looked like a foul, that's not a foul, was just off the charts yesterday. And so, again, it's not really I felt like it was hurting Carolina, but again, it wasn't like the refs lost us that game. I'm not saying that, and of course the statistics are accounted for, but it just, there was one in the first half where, the second half, we put up a shot, it didn't go in, Wake Forest got the rebound, Pete Nance is basically running back on defense, and as he kind of turns to go this way, happens to bump into the Wake Forest guard who caught the ball and is about to go, and they call a foul, 85 feet from the basket. Come on. That is not a foul. He is just running back and he bumped into the guy. I mean, that can't be a foul. And then, again, coming down where it's we are clearly trying to get to the basket. Wake Forest is clearly trying to prevent that. It was not a clean block. Yes, he missed the shot. There was contact. That's not a foul. Again, it just seems what are we calling as fouls? So I'll leave it at that. I have here a yellow for willingness to shoot. I think it was interesting to see some of our bench players get more minutes yesterday. Jalen Washington is definitely very, very raw on the defensive end of the floor, especially in pick and roll situations. He was kind of backing off and letting some easy paint floaters go up. Puff was decent. Tyler Nickel was decent. Seth Trimble was decent. I think the three of them have to look for their shot more. It seems like if we ever run a play for them, which could have been another box, again, pin downs, screens, off-ball movement, have to get our shooters open. That has to be a game plan for us going forward. But it seems like if one of the three that I just mentioned catch the ball, their first thought is to pass to one of our more experienced players. And their second thought is to, if there's someone kind of on them preventing the three, drive in, which I guess in theory is fine. But then if you're not going to take a shot at the rim or try and finish or a jump shot or whatever, and you just kind of stagnate and then pass it out, that's not doing much for us. I understand you're losing. You don't want to be the guy that messes up. But going forward, if you catch the ball, make a quick move and then just shoot. You guys are our shooters. Our starters are in a historic slump right now, and we need offense, and we need it quickly. I mean, Armando was in foul trouble yesterday, and I almost was good. Because when you're down 27 or whatever it was, you don't need to be focusing on a big man who's going to take 3 or 4 dribbles and hopefully get a 2-pointer to go in that takes 20 seconds. We need instant offense. So I know they're freshmen and I know they're young, or some of them are, but shoot the ball. Shoot the ball. We have to score. So a yellow for that. And then finally today is going to be a red for the pit. A red box for the pit. If you guys have ever seen The Dark Knight Rises and this pit jail cell, that's where Carolina basketball is right now. That's how I felt waking up this morning. I felt like I had a broken back, and the daylight was just so out of reach. It's a come to Jesus moment, right? They have to figure something out. They've got a top of the league Clemson on Saturday, and they've got a red hot ranked Miami 2 days later on Monday, and then they go to PNC to play NC State the following Sunday. That's the season right there. Put up or shut up, right? There were rumors. I tried not to look at Twitter too much last night, but there were rumors that they had a 30-minute just sit in the locker room in Winston-Salem and, talk it out. I don't know what happened. It'll be interesting to see if, we go on a big run. That story comes out more. But I'll end with this, right? College basketball is so funny because you never really feel like the season's over because you can always get in with a good run and winning your conference tournament, right? But I just need us to start showing that that's feasible. And last night was not that. Again, proud of the fight. Maybe that's what historically depressing teams do to you. They make you think it's still possible, and they'll come up close, but they won't actually get it. That's where we are right now. That's the state of Carolina basketball. 4 reds and a yellow today, and one of them was called the Pit. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully Saturday brings better tidings. Go Heels.